don't like pizza.
Laman yun.
Corn.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever or whenever you may be. This is the overnight. I'm Dean Foss, and tonight we've got two live Moo, the fine bovine. How you doing, Moo?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Bobs?
I'm doing all right.
You doing all right?
Doing all right.
All right.
And we've got Guns and question mark barbecue. How's it going?
Good evening. It's going all right. Yourself?
I'm doing all right. Gizzard Gary. How's Gizzard doing? How's the prostate?
All right. Man, I tell you what, I'm finer than a frog's hair on the 4th of July. I tell you what. Have a good time. Hey, you.
I'm doing all right.
I
I sent you that email that I was.
I got it.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I ever sent you that. I was going through my phone.
No, I don't think I've ever seen it.
That's why we were a little bit late starting. I was having trouble using modern technology, but we're here now.
Sweet.
Let me. There we go. Let me get my YouTubes all caught up. Here's my. So good evening, everybody. Not sure what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about I was going to say whatever Moo wants to talk about, but that's kind of dangerous.
Sure, you want to go there?
Are we talking up or waist down?
Yeah. I was going to mention we had talked about the the couple of sensitive places cases that happened in the Ninth Circuit, and I realized that why the rulings were a little bit different because they were different 3-judge panels. When you hear the Ninth Circuit ruled, it's not, it's a rotating set of judges, and there's multiple sets of 3-panel judges happening at the same time. And they have their own YouTube channel, so you can watch them ruling on stuff. Well, they don't rule right then, but you can watch them hearing whatever cases. And that's why the stuff out of Hawaii and stuff out of California were different, because they're 2 different panels. Vulcan Rumble is asking what makes a good. Whoops, that jumped on me here. Where'd it go? I was asking what makes a good gun show. Any of you guys go to gun shows? I haven't been one since the
occasionally.
mid-90s.
Beef jerky and purse vendors.
And gun girls run around in scantily clad clothing, stuff like that.
Well, we had
Oh, you have that at
Yeah,
your gun show? I've
local
never seen that at my gun shows.
Wanamaker.
Oh, I'm sure at Wanamaker, yeah. But in all seriousness, just for me, a variety of firearms. Something to, because anymore you're paying upwards $7-8 at the door for admission. I'm sure Wanamaker's way worse, but I don't get to go to super awesome places like that. I just get to go to small gun shows that are held inside fire halls and their reception halls and things like that. So, just a large variety of firearms. When I get there, I want to see a lot of tables, plenty of vendors. I don't want to see an entire row where a guy's just set up 5 tables and he's got everything spaced out really nice, because that's just taking up a lot of space and not really having much. I like when I go in and you see the vertical gun rack sitting on a table, because all of a sudden there's 10 guns, standing up instead of having to be spaced strategically and things like that. And then just the ability to handle things without people getting twitchy, things like that. So that's always a good thing too. So some places the rules have gotten so ridiculous.
Do you ever go to gun shows, Moo? Or you just have the gun shows at home?
Yeah. Well, both. But anyway, well, I haven't been to one in a couple of years, but because my local gun shows switch from one venue to the other one, and the other one, the new one, is a way smaller space than the one before. And so when you go, it's super, super crowded. And I don't like crowds. But the best thing about that gun show is, like, if I'm looking for a holster for, one of my weird guns, they always have them there. There's this one guy that you got to buy, like, I think it's $300 for each table that you display at. And he's got like 5 tables there, and it's full of holsters, and he's got bins and bins of holsters behind him. And if you're like, hey, I need a holster for, XYZ, he turns around, grabs it, and hands it to you. And it's the same price as if you were going to buy it online. but he's right there, and you can, put your gun into it, and so that I like that part about it. So yeah, I do like it. It's $5 to get in. You can print off a $1 coupon online before you go in, so it's $4, whatever. But I like going there. They have tons of knives and a lot of weird military stuff. They have food there. It's kind of cool. I kind of miss it.
How's it going, G-Webs? How you doing tonight?
Fair to Medlin. Thanks for hosting.
Thanks for showing up. Yeah, I haven't, like I said, I haven't been to a gun show since the mid-90s, and I went with somebody else and was just kind of there. I wasn't really looking at anything. When I was standing looking at something, there was a long table, and there were a bunch of different people set up at the table, tables lined up. And I'm looking down, and I realize there's a little red dot on my chest. And some guy way down to one side was looking at a rifle with a laser on it. And so he's holding it like this, and I didn't enjoy that part.
Now I did find some 338 Win Mag ammo at like half price when I was at the last gun show. Because they're like $90 for a box of 20.
Yeah.
So I got them for like $45. So it's pretty cool. It took my son there, and he bought some wacky ass throwing knives and maybe some hatchets and stuff. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Get a hot dog and look at guns and knives.
Do you ever go to the gun shows there in Arizona, G-Webs? You get a chance to?
Yes. Not recently, but yeah. That's why there's a reason I call everything the gun show.
Yeah.
Shows in like 13 states or some shit.
Let's take a quick look, see who was out there tonight. Vulcan Rumble was out there, and he had said that the gun show he went to wasn't that good, but he got to meet some nice people. Hillbilly Up, Gizzard Gary, The Saint, Mr. Bob Davalina, and Two Live Moo.
No.
Sergeant
That
Joe
dude is
Smith.
whack.
Robert Moore, and I think I missed somebody. Gunmetal Guy USA. It's out there. Good evening to everybody. And I remembered the banner. Let me get the banner going. At the bottom of the screen, there's an email address on tacticalfoss@gmail.com. You can send in comments, suggestions, or pictures within reason. Moo, talking to you. And there's a link for the Discord server. It's kind of a place online to hang out, chit chat, share pictures and memes and stuff like that. And you can always get a hold of me there. And pretty much anybody else that comes on the chat, except Moo, because he refuses to join the Discord server for some reason.
I'm on there.
Are you on there finally?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just one more thing. I don't know. Don't complicate my life.
Robert Moore was saying, anyone remember or been to the gun shows in the late 70s and 80s? Those were the days.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
Moo's on the Discord server.
I never go on there, but I'm on there.
So I have a question for everyone. I was looking at
True.
some guns online and
No.
thinking to myself, wishing I had monies to buy guns. But would you get, because I kind of want, I have my only 1911 is the lightweight Kimber, which is the aluminum frame. And I kind of want a steel frame 1911.
Yeah.
So I was kind of looking at, I was looking at those and stainless because I like stainless. There's a Kimber. Looked at the Kimbers, and now I forget even what I was looking at. But
Must have been awesome.
yeah. Well, also found a used Smith & Wesson 500 with a 4-inch barrel, which is something that I've wanted for quite a while.
Hell yeah.
I feel like you should do that.
The prices, I can get a brand new one for about the same price as the used one, but like the used one was on it's either Buds or Palmetto, and you can do like financing or layaway or stuff like that. What there was a third one that I found. It kind of slipped my mind what it was. I think it was actually a Ronin, another 1911. That the Springfield, which we're supposed to hate Springfield, so I'm told. What would you do?
Do what you want. You do what you want with Springfield. I'll hate them for you.
Which one would you get if you could get one?
Is the Springfield used?
No.
Then no.
Because some of the stuff when I was looking, I had a whole bunch of different pages open. Some of them were used, some of them were just discounted. But it's one of the quandaries that I struggle with is making the choice between 2 or 3 things, and then kind of paralysis by analysis. The more I go over it, the harder the choice becomes.
Have you looked at a pony?
You could just buy it and then tell everybody that it was used.
Talking about 1911s or what?
What? Just making a choice between things that I want. Yes, so a couple stainless 1911s or Smith & Wesson 500, which is with the 4-inch, and that's one that I've really wanted for a long time. I also want a Desert Eagle, but those are out of the price range. $2,000 is just too much for me.
If you got to spend a lot of money, I wouldn't spend it with Springfield.
Well, that's why we were asking if it was used by chance.
I mean, I don't even like buying used stuff. I don't like the company. I don't know. People like them, but I've never liked them. And then they did horrible stuff to the state of Illinois and essentially all of us. And there's no way I'm giving a company a pass. Like, you can go, oh, I don't like that policy or something, but this is literally screwing with laws so that they can make a few bucks. That's like heinous. That's way worse than
threw the whole industry into the bus in Illinois.
Yeah, like they really did a horrible thing. And they basically they bought the name Springfield, they buy their guns from other countries, and then they market them. That's it. That's all they do. They market. So I never liked the company. I never liked their guns. They grabbed a cool name, and then they have the 14. No, not the 14s. What are they called? The 14s, right? Like they are the only ones that make like the M1, A1, whatever it is that they make like a couple of guns, and then some people liked their 1911s. But they liked their 1911s because they were a cheap way of getting a nicer 1911 that they could have bought from Colt or whatever. So anyway, it was never a company that was like, oh, we're going to make the best guns or we're going to do something great. Like they were like, hey, somebody's selling something, let's get it made in another country, put Springfield name on it, and market, and not even deal with the fact that we just bought the name, and we do whatever we can to kind of copy trends or whatever. So anyway, I'm not a big fan of the company. When they did what they did, they're never coming back from that. So I'm just never going to like them.
Mr. Bob Dabalina said the gun is just the price of admission. You got to buy ammo to feed it too. Yes, I know. And like the 500 will be very expensive to feed. But
yeah, that's when you don't buy it to shoot all the time, though. So it's one of the reasons you buy it is because you're only going to shoot it once in a while.
Well, that's why because like there was a 460 and a 500 used, and that's usually people buy them because they're cool and then shoot them, and it hurts, so they sell them. But I remembered the other gun that I was kind of looking at was, I think might have been a Pieta, case hardened in 45 long Colt.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
And
Well,
I don't really have, I've got the Black Hawk is my only kind of cowboy-ish gun. But how do you choose?
Because a Ruger is only cowboy-ish. It has nothing to do with being anything near being a cowboy gun. Pietas use Colt blueprints or whatever, right? Like they're using to make them to Colt standard. So you're essentially getting a Colt. Or am I crazy?
The Pietas are single action Army clone. The Black Hawk, I mean, it's a single action, but in the sense of being a single action Army clone, no. The Vaquero is closer to that than anything, but that's something I don't ever see used, by the way. I never see Vaqueros pop up. At least not around here, I should say.
Ruger? Well, Rugers are strong guns. I mean, they have nothing to do with being in the Old West or anything. They just look old, but they're super strong. So they get, from what I'm told, they get used for cowboy sports because it's hard to break them and they're way cheaper.
Yeah.
So they got too much demand on them.
I think that's the big thing, like for the Vaqueros, is just the fact the price, and then they can still go and have them slicked up and everything for cowboy action shooting, and not break the bank.
The Saint is asking, is auto ordnance any good? As far as I know, they're fine.
I was just looking at one today.
They're mid. They're not bad necessarily, but they're not like match grade or anything. But they're better than a lot. They're not whatever. Like, do they even make them anymore?
I don't think so. Whenever I find them, they're used, but they always feel great in the hand.
I own one for a while. Okay, but there's the auto ordnance on the side, so right away people that are looking for ponies don't see them. But I owned it, so it was a entry model or a threshold one that I could get into for hundreds instead of close to 1,000.
My buddy that came to Thunder on the Prairie, he brought his auto ordnance 1911. He was shooting it out there.
Yeah,
they're spec, so they work with all parts for the most part. But 1911s, you always have to put for the most part.
Yeah, I like the auto ordnance. Like
There's
everyone I've ever handled, the grip safety is never spongy. You know, when you get a hold of it, you know it.
they were made before.
Everything's yeah. I say everything's pretty tight on it. Um, it you know, for the price, it's not a bad machine.
They were made before MIM parts, so there's no MIM in there that I'm aware of.
Mr. Bob said, I saw a beautiful case hardened Browning high power clone for a great price. Had a Canadian brand name, but it's made in Turkey. Took a hard pass on that.
They boil all the guns in turkey fat. You buy in turkey, people don't know about that. So if you get one of them, a lot of cats are going to sniff your gun all the time. Just be aware of that for people that buy guns made in Turkey.
Sergeant Joe Smith was asking High Point 380 for home defense. It's perfectly fine if that's all you got.
What would happen is the criminal would come in and see that you've got an inexpensive firearm for defense, and they would feel bad for you and leave because they don't want to steal from somebody that's poor.
I think high points for home defense are awesome. And say because you can just leave them right at the bottom of the door, keeps the door open, and then like if all of a sudden you're in the bathroom and somebody breaks in, you got one propping open the bathroom door, ready to go. Or say you're in your bedroom, boom, you grab the one by the bedroom door, ready to go. But no, seriously though, again, because apparently I just feel like being a massive smartass tonight. I've always said, you know, high points, they just work. If you're fine with just 7 or 8 shots in the high point, you know, go for it. And you know, like Foss said, if that's what you can afford and that's what you got, cool.
I shot Travis P11s at Thunder on the Prairie, and the impulse is different. It's funky to begin with, but it just feels different when it shoots.
They kind of shoot ugly.
I love the sound they make when that ZMAX slide goes back and forth. You kind of hear it.
Tink.
Another thing, just I know some people think, oh, I'll have a high point for home defense because if I have to ever use it, you know, it's going to end up in a police locker. On one hand, I get it. Like, all right, you're only losing a $200 gun. That's easy to replace. But again, is that the gun you're shooting best? You know, as far as reliability goes, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find anything else that's going to be as reliable as a high point, unfortunately, because like I said, those things just eat everything and just run. But there's plenty of other firearms where you can get that reliability. And at that point, you know, again, which one do you shoot best? And that's what I would go with is whatever you shoot best.
They are.
If you have the option. You know, again, if the high point is just that's the only thing in my budget, then totally get it.
That you could say they're battle tested. I saw a soldier in Afghanistan that he had a high point. He took his high point to Afghanistan, and that's what he carried.
Interesting.
Who brought what? I missed that part.
Oh, the operator. He took a high point to Afghanistan with him. He was using the high point in Afghanistan.
In what context? Like, you're not allowed to bring your own gun to any kind of U.S. military. So you're talking about some kind of contractor?
I don't know. I mean, I saw the story years ago, but It was. I'm pretty sure it was a U.S. soldier, and he was he was showing his high point in Afghanistan.
I don't know about that. I mean, have you ever heard of anyone ever being able to bring their own firearm to anything in any U.S. military? Anything like all through World War I, II, or Vietnam? Like you might have heard like one story of one guy who brought a special gun, but I don't. The military is like, oh yeah, just bring a gun. We're in the army, so you can just have guns all around.
Wow.
Special operations gets
No.
them.
No.
Know what? I'm not
I
saying
mean,
a special
they
operations
can
guy
buy
is carrying
whatever
a
they
high point,
want,
but I am saying that they get leniency on what they want to carry.
No, for sure, but not like you can just throw whatever you feel like in a duffel bag. Like their units get to buy stuff. It's not like they just get paid, here's some money. Like even Delta Force and shit, they got other things to do than go shop for their shit. They might say what they want and it gets bought for them. But unless
That's
it's
my point, though.
stunt or whatever, nobody's buying a high point. Is what I'm saying. Like,
Well, I do know someone, Marine, that this was back when he was issued a Beretta, but the grip was a little big for his hand, so he bought a gun off a SEAL, and then while he was in the service, he carried that gun, and then when he got out, he sold it back to his buddy.
it's again, what are you talking about? Like nobody, the only people that carry guns are MPs, and they don't just like carry whatever gun feels good in their hands. You get issued stuff, and it goes to inventories. Like you take your guns out of the armory and get them for whatever amount of time. If you're in the shit right then again, you're getting a gun, and it better be working when you send it back. Like you don't just do what you feel like in the military. I mean, you don't even wear your clothes that you want.
So back to me trying to choose. If I were to choose, how do I choose?
What's the decision again? It's the Smith & Wesson 500 and a 1911 in stainless?
Yeah, stainless 1911 Smith & Wesson 500. I'm pretty sure it was a Pieta, a case hardened Pieta, and 45 long Colt.
Well, which one can you not get? Like, which one is the rarest? That's usually a factor. And then, like, what are you going to use the most? Like, that's three completely different, just, different directions to go in as far as what you use.
If I got something, they would all be, the usage would be the same. It wouldn't, they wouldn't be used all the time. Not like an everyday carry or anything.
Well, no, that's a lot of money to spend on something that's just like, oh, I look at it, or I'm hanging out, I'm taking it to the range or whatever. So that's, I guess, the factors. Like, how much money do you want to just spend on the table?
That's the one, kind of the one knock against the 500. That's the most expensive option.
I say you rate. Which one would you like most?
That's where I'm stuck.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like write 1911 on one hand, write Pieta on the other, thumb wrestle yourself, and then whichever hand loses then gets 500 written on it, and then thumb wrestle yourself again, and whichever hand wins is the one you buy. Not really sure how you thumb wrestle yourself, but it sounds interesting.
It's yeah, well, it's three options, three things I don't have. I do have a 1911, but I don't have an all steel stainless 1911. The 500, I've always wanted with the shorter, with the 4-inch barrel, just because it's big and ridiculous. And I bought the 44 Magnum because I came across that while I was looking for big and ridiculous. But it's kind of big, but it's not ridiculous enough.
So, you mean the 45 long Colt?
Then the 44 long Colt is just, a cool cowboy gun, which I don't have a cool cowboy.
So, I would sit on the 1911. just because steel frame 1911s they're not rare. Coming across the Smith & Wesson 500, especially in the 4-inch barrel like you want, that's not as common.
Are you making
And-
espresso, G-Web?
Oh, sorry.
And Case Hardened Pieta, unless you got a local shop that's set up as like a authorized dealer for them, you don't see those popping in too often either. So I would narrow it down to those two if it was me, just because the 1911 you could really get it any other time, because everybody and their mother's making a 1911. There's only one company making the Smith & Wesson 500. There's only one company making the Pieta. Now, there's also, if you're just looking for a single action army, I don't know why this is eluding me right now, but the other Italian company, I cannot believe I can't think of it. But, and honestly, I think they're slightly better than Pieta. Most of the companies like Taylor's and Co. and other places like that, where they just order guns, slap their name on it, and might do a little bit of stuff to it. They're ordering from, they're ordering their clones from the other Italian company that I cannot remember to save my life right now.
Beretta?
What's that?
Beretta?
No.
I know who you're talking about, but I also cannot.
Yeah, and it's bugging me that I can't think of it because I really want one.
Chiappa.
Chiappa?
No. They specifically make like single action army clones, Winchester clones, things like that. I
Chiappa.
want to say it starts with a D.
D.
But
Yeah, and Figlio.
Uberti.
Uberti, yeah. That totally starts with a D. The D silent.
Mhm.
It's D, comma,
Uberti.
yeah. Somebody's gonna hear this in like 10 years and Google that and be like, and if it came up. But
Mr. Bob said if you get a Pieta, you're gonna have to get a lever gun to go with it. A lever gun. That's on my wish list too. Is I don't have a lever gun. And I would like one, but that's another quandary is what caliber.
well, if you're gonna get the Pieta and 45 long Colt, I would get the lever gun 45 long Colt just for giggles.
That was the goal originally when I was thinking about lever guns. Is either 350. Well, at first it was 357 because I had a 357 revolver, but then I got the 44, which opened up 44.
Yes.
But I also 30-30 is just such a iconic round. I would like a 30-30, but I also want 45-70 because it's big and stupid.
I understand that. Yep.
So that's what that's why I have trouble choosing. And then why if I have something in mind, I go to the gun shop and end up buying what's in the case right in front of me instead of having them order what I came in to have them order.
Boss, I'd like to apologize to you. We have not been good enablers. The correct answer here is buy all three.
Well, that's unfortunately that's not an option.
Oh, darn it. I really thought I had a problem solved there.
I am both independently poor and financially irresponsible. Robert Moore says, I have a Judge as my nightstand pew. This shot was slug. I'm old and it takes a while to wake up. My dogs are my alarm first. So yeah, it's kind of what I go through all the time. What do I do? What do I do?
I just sent you an email, Foss.
Yeah, I see it. I'll show it here in just a minute.
I already know what it is. You're a dick.
You do. You do.
I should have sent a
I
photo
should have
of
sent
mine.
two. You son
Oh,
of a-
people out there are probably now like, oh, I don't think we want to see this. It's not what you folks think. It's only like the best 1911 you can get for the money.
I love that thing.
I do like how they look. Moo sent in a picture of his bull armory. 45 ACP.
And if you can't find the bull, just get the Magnum Research. Exact same thing.
Telos is out there. Good evening. Oh, yeah. And the one kind of reason I was looking at the, thinking like Kimber is because, well, I like Kimbers. And I like
I've
the
had Kimber.
Steel Kim. The 1911s we're talking, not the other Kimber.
I won't lie. I'm not a Kimber fanboy by any means. Like, I have one, mainly because it was an incredible price when I walked into the shop and had an amazing story to go along with it. So I was like, yep, I got to take that home. And it almost cost me not ever getting a Bull Armory, because the next month when I went in to get the Bull Armory, which I was planning on getting when I bought that Kimber, they were sold out. Just all of a sudden dried up. I was like, I was worried I was never going to get one at that point. But like, I like my Kimber, but I think they're overrated as a whole.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Barbecue. Too bad you have to go. No, I'm not. I'm a bit of a Kimber fanboy. I do like Kimbers. I think they are attractive.
Oh, 100%.
But I'm not, I don't get offended if somebody doesn't like them.
No, like, mine's the two-tone, so it's got this trying to think what the finish would be on the slide. I don't want to call it satin, but black slide, aluminum frame, looks gorgeous. Rosewood grips, it's just incredible.
Yeah, mine is the lightweight. So it's got the aluminum frame and it's two-tone black with a gray. But yeah. So I don't know. And you guys have been absolutely no help.
I had a Kimber stainless Pro Carry,
Mm.
but it was
Yeah,
like
I think
Gamma-matic, so.
I think the one I was looking at was stainless 2 Kimber. From most people that I've known that have had problems with their Kimbers, it was magazine related. With switching out the magazines fixed their problem. Sergeant Joe Smith had asked earlier, pistol or shotgun for home defense.
Yep.
I lean towards pistol. I do have 300 Blackout, which I built as a home defense gun. It's 7.5 inch with a can on it, so I don't disturb the neighbors. And knowing how much G-Webs loves shotguns, he would probably say shotgun. He didn't take the bait.
I feel like G-Webs would probably choose a bullpup shotgun.
Oh, I'm having bad internet. Did you ask me something?
Oh, Sergeant Joe Smith had asked pistol or shotgun for home defense. And I said, due to your love of shotguns, you would probably go with shotgun.
Yeah, no, I don't like shotguns. Even definitely not for home defense. I don't understand that. If you live in the middle of nowhere, maybe, but not even then. For inside your house, it just seems like you don't like your own stuff because you're shooting all your stuff in your house. It makes no sense.
M. Gabriel's out there. Good evening. Mr. Bob Dabalina said you can do Pieta and 45 Long Colt and get a lever gun in 454 Casull for big and ridiculous. It's chambered in 45 Long Colt too. That's another gun that I've wanted for a long time. Is 454 Casull. And the Blackhawk in 454 Casull.
I would like a Blackhawk in 454 Casull also. I got to shoot Jake's Taurus at Thunder on the Prairie in 454 Casull. That I really enjoyed that.
That was I kind of looked at also the Raging Hunter in 460 because that can also shoot 454 Casull and 45 Long Colt. That's one that
what 6 calibers that can shoot.
I'm not sure what all, but and I kind of do like the two-tone look on the two-tone Raging Hunters. And that was Hillbilly kind of talked me into looking at those when I was talking 45 Casull. Miss Bob asked, does Pieta make a 454 Casull? I don't know.
I doubt it. They don't make guns. They make pre-production Colts. I don't think they're designing guns. They're just remaking guns that exist. And Colt never made anything like that.
Sent you an email, Fuss.
I'll take a look here in just a second. Alrighty. Amir Hope. Try it over there. I'm just refreshing. All right, has not shown up yet. So we'll keep an eye on it. And which email did you send it to?
The one that you normally email me from.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know if you want me to announce that.
We'll see if it gets here. It just might take a little time.
I think it's the one that's like your name.
Oh, I'm not over on that one. Yeah. All right. Well,
leaky@squeaky.com.
Yeah. Well, we'll give it a little time here, and I'll check in a little bit. Yeah, I think the more we talk about this, the worse it's going to get because then I start remembering all the other stuff that I've wanted forever, too. Because, then if we start talking, I don't have any milsurp guns, and I would really like a milsurp gun.
Yeah, that's like saying though, like, oh, I'm thinking about liking chocolate candies, so I'm gonna try one. Like, there's a zillion chocolate candies. You're gonna want to try more than one. Like buying one milsurp, you could accomplish that with buying a 1911, I guess. But then you didn't buy a rifle, and if you bought a rifle, then you didn't buy. You know what I mean? There's just so much in milsurp. Is that I guess I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see buying one large revolver. Like, oh, I chose this one and I got it. You don't have like a compulsion to have more, but anything you get with milsurp, you're going to be like, well, I want the handgun for it, or I want this for it, or I want the companion one to it, or I want the other side of the other country's version or something. Like milsurp lends itself to collections. I guess maybe that was back in the day when people went to gun shows. Without gun shows, I guess there's no way to facilitate getting all the stuff for a milsurp. Maybe it's easier to own a milsurp and not buy all the stuff for it.
Well, I will tend to want all the stuff for it. I will admit that.
That's what I'm saying. But if you can't go to a gun show, I mean, I get that. But if you can't go to a gun show and actually procure it, then you're forced to like, oh, here's an item online. Like, I'll buy whatever's available. But it's not the same as, like, let's say you've been going to a gun show for every weekend or every month or something for a while. And then you decide, okay, I'm going to buy a blah, 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 fill in the blank rifle. You know that, okay, at this one gun show, this guy shows up and I can get mag pouches for it. And if I go to this gun show at this time, I can get extra mags for it. And if I go here at this gun show, I can get a sling for it. And, pretty soon you're decking it all out and it got all the pieces. And then you can go, oh, you know what? I could turn it into a British version or the one that they used in Africa or something by just buying this different hardware for it or this different sling or something. And that's, that was part of the fun of milsurp at gun shows. But even if you had a couple of gun shops you could do that with, but if you're just, having to look stuff up online, I just don't think it's the same experience, maybe, or like, environment.
Yeah. So this is Barbecue. Sent in a couple pictures. This is Kimber.
It's a very old photo.
American made.
That's why I went with Kimber, is because I wanted my first to be an American 1911. And I've always liked the look of Kimbers. And let's see if it shows the second pic. There we go. Wow, I like that.
That's my bull.
That looks very familiar.
What is it?
Mine's bigger.
Your barrel is much longer than mine.
What is that?
I was in the pool.
This is a bull armory.
Oh, okay.
That's a
I've got the
government.
full size. Maybe it has the commander.
Same grips too.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, like even if you got the Magnum Research, the Magnum Research has the exact same grips too. Literally, all they did was just instead of putting Bull Armory on it, they put Magnum Research.
I don't care. I still love it.
I know they're freaking awesome. Krabby Turtle actually has the Magnum Research because he couldn't get a bull.
So what?
Well, yeah,
they were factory or something.
What's that?
I never heard of them. What do they make the guns for a car or whatever?
No, Magnum Research. Well, I guess car makes Magnum Research. So, but bulls made by Magnum Research. So,
they make the Desert Eagle.
It doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me why, like they took and made the Bull line or well company, and then they just go and have the Magnum Research 1911s, and they're, like I said, they're the exact same.
It's pretty smooth, man.
Magnum Research is like branding at this point, right? Like they own the brand. They don't have any love for the guns. They're not changing the guns. They're not, they're just making the guns. They're not developing them. So it's probably just like they're figured, well, we can, people are going to buy Magnum Research because they already own some. And now that we put this one in front of them, they're going to buy it.
These are made over in Israel.
Does it come with a beeper?
There's a video going around that they shot 145 ACP round today or yesterday, whatever it was. Is it too soon for that one?
Yeah, I saw the shockwave from it. It was incredible.
And they somebody
hit the moon.
No, somebody launched a nuke in Lebanon, I guess, or something. It looked like a nuke went off in Lebanon. I saw those videos surfacing right now.
I haven't heard about that.
It's just a crappy video of like someone looking out their apartment window or house window and a nuke going off across a hill or something, across the horizon. And nobody knows details on it. So, but I'm just playing the old 145 ACP round joke.
It spun the Earth the other direction.
That's why they had to quit issuing them and had to go to a 9mm because it was causing global warming.
It's way too powerful.
They figured out if they had like 6 guys shooting at a range, all shooting against Earth's rotation, it would keep slowing us down. They'd have to have 6 more guys shoot the other way to speed us back up again.
The oceans would totally swamp us.
Oh, I actually have no news that it's actually Lebanon. That's just what they were saying on X. So if it was a Russian ammo explosion, it totally looks like that too. So it could have been actually that, and somebody's just calling it Lebanon. I heard nothing on any kind of news channel, just comments on X.
So the goddamn bacon's out there, and
Damn man.
think it's White Winged Dragon.
I bought a workbook and the textbook for a Japanese language class. So I'm basically going to learn Japanese pretty soon by just reading that book.
I've got mine from when I took Japanese, but I didn't do very well. I mean, I got an A plus. I got extra credit, but struggled.
How do they teach you, like the numbers and then the alphabet, and then you start learning baby words, or is it more conversational?
Kind of, you work into it, and all I really ever learned and all I can remember are all the dirty words.
Yeah, I took a bunch of regular Spanish classes and they're boring. Like, here's the numbers, here's the letters, here's good grammar. And then I took one for law enforcement and emergency services, and it was way funner because it's all like slang and threats and how can I help you kind of words. Like, it's way more interesting to just get right into it.
I've got I had a couple. I might have given them away, but I had a couple books. One was on how to pick up chicks in Japanese, and the other was the dirty words.
So I would have thought it would have been against like the cultural thing to go around picking up girls, but I guess I'm not used to that, their culture.
Well, it yes and no, and the Japanese guys tend to be kind of shy.
Oh, I meant like go up and actually pick them up.
But I have failed many foreign languages. I failed 2 years of French in high school.
We had French, Spanish, or German, and I was like, why would I want to learn French or Spanish? I'm going to learn German, and I used it approximately 0 outside of failing the class. Like I only knew how to count or whatever, and I never used it ever, not even close. Or I guess that 99 balloons video came out. Aside from that, like I never thought about needing to use German ever.
I kind of, it's the same reason I
letters.
went with French. I didn't want to learn Spanish or German. Spanish would have been the smart one to go with.
Yes, Spanish is almost English. Like German has extra letters, and they're always mad. It's just a weird language. I don't know nothing about French other than you have to say wow, wow, woo, and I didn't feel like doing all that.
Well, if you learn Spanish or French, you can kind of pick up some of the words from the other languages because they're
Yeah,
kinda
they're all
come
right.
from the same place.
Yeah.
I think, can't remember if it was Italian was the other one that you can kind of get some of the words because they're
What I like
similar.
about Spanish is I can't spell for shit, but I can spell fine in Spanish. Like it all makes sense. Like everything sounds like it sounds, or spells like it sounds.
English is, I've heard from other, from English as second language folks that English is tough because it's not regimented. But
It's horrible.
growing up with it, that's what made it so easy is, there's rules, but nobody follows the rules. So you use it whatever way you want to. Like with Japanese, it is very regimented. Your noun goes here, your subject goes here, your verb goes there, and you put them in those order. And I struggled with putting them in that order.
Yeah, I watch the stuff every once in a while. Instagram will feed me like the people trying to learn English type of little videos, and ours make no sense. Like you'll take EAR, right? Like put a B in front of it, and then all the different ways you can spell things, and then it's like, oh well, if that must be this way. Nope, it's that way. Like there's all these weird words and
Like
things.
comb and tomb and bomb.
Yeah, like they make no sense because they go all over the place. The way we pronounce it or whatever. Like,
But that the comedian Gallagher, he was doing bits
exactly.
on that back in the 80s.
Where you just take the front letter or change the letter, and it makes sense. I mean, I don't think about it because we all learned so long ago, but yeah, I imagine it's pretty tough.
I before E, except after C. What about the word neighbor?
Oh, I thought Gizzard did that.
I did what?
It's more like that's like a duck.
Put it back up on full screen because we're sleeping.
Yeah.
Oh, is that an assault
Is
rifle?
Is that Gander, Gary?
Is that somebody typing in Japanese and it's not showing up on the screen, or are they just typing in ...
It's Morse code in Japanese, I think.
I'm not sure. So Gary,
Yeah.
I was almost partially, maybe sort of not exactly right about the pagers. It was the batteries. It looks like it's the batteries that they incorporated an explosive into the batteries of the pagers and the radios. And that's what they got to detonate.
So like they went to their battery supplier and messed with the batteries so that they put new batteries into their pagers, and then that's when they got them.
Yeah.
Nice.
God, now I forget what the explosive that they used is an explosive, and it's used in medicine. I think to enlarge
Prostates.
Eggplant?
it's vascular. The term,
Colon.
I can't remember the term exactly. It was vascular something. The vascular dilation, something like that.
I'm skeptical.
What about that?
Well, it's used. It's an explosive, but it's also used in
Oh,
medicine.
the chemical. The chemical.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah, it's
never heard of
PE it's like
explosives used in
PETN.
medicine.
And when I was reading, it looks like Israel had got a middleman, created a middleman company. So I don't know. I've seen stories where that the pagers moved through that company, or they actually got licensed to make those pagers. So it's not sure exactly, but they ended up somewhere in the middle. So everything kind of went through them, through Bulgaria, I think.
Is that
And
like bulimia?
Well, and the kind of crazy thing is, the pagers and stuff were probably made a couple years ago, and then they've been feeding them to over that way. Oh, and I was going to mention that the special prosecutor for the Baldwin case, she has asked the judge to reconsider her decision.
What does that mean? Is that that's the person on the prosecuting side of him?
Yep.
And she lost. She's asking the judge to relook at it.
Yeah, the case was thrown out because there is some evidence that they hadn't turned over to the defense. So the special prosecutor, Carrie Morrissey, she had asked the judge to reconsider the opinion because the evidence that they hadn't turned over was not germane to the whole prosecution.
Yeah, it was such a technicality, right? Like, really didn't mean it.
And then
Oh,
go ahead, Barbecue.
Why would you go file it under an entire case number so it would never be found? Then magically you go and pull it out of this other case number and look, we have this evidence. If it wasn't germane.
Well, it's not, because it doesn't. The way they were prosecuting this, it did not matter where that bullet came from. It mattered what Baldwin did. So it could have fallen out of the bullets, magically rained from heaven like pennies. That didn't matter. It mattered that Baldwin didn't take due care, according to the law. And then if that judge denies the motion, then they can still appeal it to a higher court. But who knows what's going to happen with it?
Honestly, I don't want to go all conspiracy, but I think it was this whole thing's a dog and pony show at this point. They again, like anything for the case. Why was it filed under a different case number? Withheld all that fun jazz, like, especially if it's not germane to the case. Like, here you go. Here's some evidence that was gotten. Like, we could bring it in, but like, why would we? Then magically you pull out this other case number. So like, if it's under a different case number, like why would you even bother to go get it? It technically should be another case. Yeah. So that's all fishy there.
How would you
So
know
then
to
this
go
whole
get it, right? Like if it's filed
exactly
somewhere else.
like so it was purposely done, and they knew that they were doing it. So then
Are
magically,
you saying the prosecutors did it intentionally?
I'm implying that, yes.
Okay.
Like, unfortunately, money is powerful, and Baldwin and his attorneys, they're gonna have money. And I'm not just saying just the prosecutor is in on it. This could go far up. The judge, everything. So then,
Well, it
because the
could go
judge could
the
have
other
just
way and just be some aide that was like, I think this will be like good for my career, and I'll hide this over here as like a wild card or something.
possibly, but again, because if the rounds weren't germane to the case, then theoretically the judge should be like, oh yeah, that wasn't actually, didn't matter. This would not sway the trial one way or the other, et cetera, et cetera. Instead, he throws the whole thing out. And the reason I say it, I think it's just a dog and pony show. So now they're just going through the motions like, oh, judge, please reconsider.
I don't think they're just going through the motions, because when they were having basically the judge was doing the ruling on whether to throw this out. The prosecutor put herself on the stand to get stuff into evidence so that she could use that as possible appeal later by getting that what she wanted to say on the record. I mean, because she literally said, "I will sit on this." When the judge is saying, "Well, I can't remember," I don't remember exactly what the judge said, but she said, "I will take the stand," and she ended up doing that, sitting on the stand and then getting out stuff that she wanted, in the record.
How much of it is like I want justice, and versus how much of it is I want to be in the public eye still?
Oh, I don't know. I think I would say in my opinion, it's probably just more
Like I don't want my career to look bad. I want to make sure that
because she's not a prosecutor. She was picked as a special prosecutor. She's actually a defense attorney. And she was, when the original prosecutor quit the case, she was brought in to try it. And from what I've heard, she's supposed to be a pretty good defense attorney. I don't know, but we'll see if with how upset the judge was. I don't know if she'll change her mind on her ruling, because the judge was pissed. Midget with Carrot Cake said, I went to a gun show in Silverdale today, had Ruger ARs and AKs for sale. He said he could sell them because they were sporting rifles. He claimed to have cleared it with the ATF. Yeah, I don't.
Washington law, the ATF ain't going to care
an
inch about Washington law. So what they say is only going to apply to federal, and they're not going to have any influence over Washington law, right?
No.
Yeah, that was clearly
let's go. Hey, this is cool, and then they'll still arrest you in Washington if they want to.
clearly an undercover state police officer for Washington.
But what's the deal? You can't buy or sell those anymore?
No. You can get Mini 14s, I think, if they remove the heat shield. But you pretty much can't get ARs or AKs.
Can you imagine if they left the heat shields on them? I'm glad that you can live in a world without heat shields.
Yeah.
I live in fear of them here in Arizona. I never know when I'm going to encounter a heat shield. Could be anytime.
Yeah, I grew up kind of around Silverdale. I grew up in Port Orchard, which is 20 minutes from Silverdale. Spent a lot of time out that way.
Where is Silverdale?
On the Puget Sound.
Oh, okay. Is that a rainforest up there?
It's raining. M. Gabriel said case was dismissed with prejudice as it can't bring charges again. Well, you can always appeal. And if the original judge can change her ruling, or if they go to a higher court, they can overturn the rulings. It just means right now they cannot recharge him.
Yeah, without new evidence. Now, if new evidence came to light, they could charge him with the new evidence. But without the new evidence, they can't recharge him. But like Floss was saying, if they win the appeal, everything just goes back to him being charged.
Midget Carrot Cake is in Belfair. I spent a lot of time in Belfair. Had cousins in Belfair.
Oh, I was thinking the peninsula. You're saying, is Puget Sound just the name of the bay that Seattle is in?
What? It's well, here. All right. Let me bring up a map. Let me see if I can find a good map. Wow, that's not what I want. Hang on. Oops. No, I want images. I don't want maps. So we'll just go with this one, with the World Atlas. Share that, and then we'll do there. So this is the Puget Sound, all this in here. So Seattle's up here. Right across about here is Port Orchard.
Oh, we're not seeing your mouse, are we?
Oh, sorry. I'm mousing on the wrong screen.
Okay, now we can see it.
So Seattle's here, Tacoma, Olympia, Port Orchard, and kind of this way. So the Puget Sound is all this waterway that comes all the way down in here.
Okay. I was thinking the peninsula or whatever you call the. What do you call it? You don't call it a peninsula? Or do
No,
you?
well, this is in Washington. This is considered the peninsula.
Okay, that's what I meant. I thought you were saying on there, but that's what I was saying. That's all rainforest, right?
Yeah, up in here, and the Olympic rainforest is up in here.
So that's kind of like having a panhandle that sticks in the water.
Kinda, except you're not stealing it from the ocean, like you're stealing the state from the other
Oh,
country.
yeah. That's true.
But it is.
Can you show us where Yankee touched you?
Well, Yankees like kind of down here.
Yankee's over by Oregon. He's not even near to Seattle.
See, he's, I guess he'd be, well, yeah, because he's close to the river, so he's down here.
I didn't know Mount St. Helens was that far south. I thought it was way over by Spokane or something.
No, Spokane's way over here.
Yeah, that's what I thought Mount St. Helens was. I thought it was on the east side of the. Is that the Continental Divide still?
No, Continental Divide's way over here.
Okay, whatever you call your mountains, then I thought Mount St.
Oh,
Helens.
Cascade
Like
Mountain
right,
Range.
Cascades right there. That's right. That Mount
Yeah.
St. Helens was.
Yeah, they run all the way down through Oregon and.
Can you
maybe
even see
California?
Mount Rainier from where you're at then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Is that our tallest mountain? How big is it?
Oh, I'd have to look that up. But yeah, St. Helens, that's where the kind of through here. So right about here is Chehalis. And the pilot that flew from Chehalis, kind of by Mount St. Helens, is the first to coin the term flying saucer. Can't remember if he's flying away from or to, but he was flying around Mount St. Helens. But, there we go. Oh. Anything else anybody wants to talk about?
Before we start the bracket, you mean?
No, we can't do the bracket. Sorry.
Is it because Gizzard borrowed it and ruined it?
What?
Oh, he
Yeah,
was bracket today, right?
I was going to tell Gary a good website for brackets is Score Count. I think I got that from GWebs. Very easy to use website for brackets.
Yeah, I have it in my favorite. I don't know what one is called, but I have it in my favorite somewhere, the one I used before.
I know if I had a bracket, I'd be very careful with it so it wouldn't be damaged.
Well, I sent it out to be powder coated, and it's lost in shipping. So I'm waiting for him to track it and find what happened to it.
Sergeant Joe wants to do a WNBA bracket.
No, he just wants to do Caitlin Clark bracket. He's a big Caitlin Clark fan. I think that's her name.
Caitlin Clark is big.
Oh, you act like you got a big mountain over there. I was just looking it up. Alaska has all our big mountains, so that's fake. But then California has the biggest one with Mount Whitney at 14,500 feet. And
Is Rainier like 12,000?
then Colorado's got a bunch of 14. They're like all 14,000 and like a couple of 100 feet off from each other. And then your Mount Rainier is 14,400. So there's like two or three there's three Colorado mountains bigger than you. But then you're surrounded by Colorado essentially. But do you only have the one peak? I'm not seeing anything else with.
Rainier? Yeah, Rainier, St. Helens, Hood. They're all single volcanoes.
Oh, I see. Okay. Because Colorado dominates. And then there's like one in New Mexico and a couple in Wyoming. I guess that makes sense.
There is a mountain.
Ours are like 9,000 feet, so we don't even come into the running. Like the top 100 mountains in the United States are still over 13,000 feet tall. So you're not
There's a Mount Spokane. I was over that way with a friend, and he said, "Well, we'll go up to Mount Spokane." And we're driving, and we, we're going up kind of a little hill. And I'm like, "When are we going to get to Mount Spokane?" And he's like, "Well, we're here. It's not a mountain."
Yeah.
Larry Knopf is out there.
And I thought I knew mountains. I hung out in Wyoming in mountains, but it looks like I need to spend more time in Colorado because they have all this. They have hoarded all the mountains in the country, at least the ones that aren't in Alaska.
Yeah, Washington. Well, kind of Washington, Oregon, California. It's all Pacific Rim. Ring of Fire is the subduction zone.
A lot of that was created with Godzilla having fights and massive wars with other giant monsters, and a lot of that dirt gets pushed off the ocean floor.
So one of the plates goes under Washington, and that's what the Cascades and then Rainier and St. Helens. That's what that comes out of. I don't know about Colorado. I don't know how their mountains are made.
That's the Continental Divide, right? That's two plates smashing against each other, I think.
I don't know. Yeah.
Are you worried about your bracket being cloned and then flooding the streets with brackets on that attach to the back of Glocks on the streets?
No, because being a surplus Soviet, it's archaic technology. So it, first off, it's tough to duplicate, and it's so outdated, nobody's going to duplicate it. Larry's asking, did I miss the bracket? That's what we're talking about. It got lost in shipping. I sent it out to have it powder coated, trying to make it look nice, and the shipping company lost it. Yeah, I will say, don't trust two guys in a van shipping. You never know what's going to happen. Mr. Eggface, Moo.
Present.
Are you going to ever make any more videos?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. Send me $100,000.
If I had a spare $100,000.
No, you wouldn't.
Is there anything you'd like to plug?
She's upstairs sleeping.
No.
Yeah, she is.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'll send you some videos later.
If you plug her nose, she'll wake up.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Nope. No.
G-Webs, how about you? Anything you want to plug?
I could make 3 videos for $100,000. So
I can make 4.
I'm not gonna make inferior videos. So I'm not gonna try to mass produce videos for just $100,000. She Fires is on tomorrow, so I'll watch She Fires in the afternoon. I think she alluded to some kind of news or something that's coming up with her channel.
Do you know what time?
I think it's at 3:00 our time, so whatever time that would be metric, I can't do the conversions.
So possibly like 6:00 Eastern, something like that.
Probably. I was just thinking about that today because I'm getting comfortable with the 3-hour shift, so that means we're about to hit daylight savings, probably, or whatever it's called. Because as soon as I get
November
with the 3 hours, it's going to switch. Oh, I got a couple more months. Okay.
I think November. I don't know. I lost track. Washington was supposed to quit doing it.
Right around Halloween is when it happened.
Okay.
Washington was going to stop changing, and they were waiting for something else to happen first, which never happened. So who knows? The goddamn bacon said I can make videos for a 6-pack of beer and a 5th of bourbon.
What kind of bourbon?
Well, after
we'll end the show, we'll go off air, and then we'll have like a 45-minute discussion on donuts or something. We could have just gone on stayed on air for
donuts and bourbon. Yeah.
After a six pack
no
of beer, he
sprinkles,
probably
by
doesn't
the way.
care.
No sprinkles. I saw your
Barbecue?
post earlier, G-Web. No sprinkles.
Anything you got coming up? Anything you want to talk about there? Let people know about?
Nah, I got nothing. Thanks for the invite.
I do appreciate you being here. Makes me feel good when you're here. Your gentle touch.
Ooh, where does it feel good?
Gizzard Gary.
Sure, I gotta follow that.
Got something for you?
Why don't you let people know what you got coming up?
I don't know. Had some knife reviews. I did this last week. Got another knife. Just came in the mail today. I got a review. Let's see. Wednesday nights, my channel members, if there are any of them on here, is my members only chat. And then Friday night is Foul Territory at 9 p.m. Central. So that's pretty much it for now. Thanks for having me.
I would show up to the members only chat, but I don't have a members only jacket.
I used to.
Yeah, it's not that cold
I
in
need
here.
a
You
roll.
don't need a jacket.
And I go to my mailbox and get like bills and stuff. Gary goes to his mailbox and gets knives.
It's way cooler. I gotta admit.
So I do appreciate everybody that was out there in the live chat. And if you watch this in replay, leave a comment. Whatever we talked about, agree with, disagree with, let me know. I read all the comments, and they are very appreciated. Next chat will be Wednesday for Wednesday night mouse party. And I think other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good.
You still here? It's over. Go home.